Hello everyone, my name is Joshua. This is the 117th video of my video journal series. Today's date is Friday, the 5th of June 2026. How's everyone been? I've been pretty good, thank you. And today I had to wait in a government office to apply for one of those photo ID cards. Now I filled out the form beforehand, and for those who don't know, it's basically an identification card with your face on it. Basically a substitute to a driver's license for those who don't want to drive or those who don't want to renew their driver's license. I do have a learner's driver's license, but that expires next year, so I thought to myself, hey, why not apply for a photo ID card? And I did so I had to walk into the nearest service center, and obviously I had to get one of those tickets and wait in the lobby, kind of like DMV, where you're just waiting for your name to be called up. Ticket number D68, that sort of stuff. Luckily, I didn't have to wait too long. It was maybe around 10-15 minutes. But yet again, though, it just seems like waiting in government offices, or just any office, it could be the doctor's office, whatever, just takes so long, or it just feels so long. They've got music playing in the background, or they might have like the TV on, or some magazines out, but like, oh my gosh, it just feels so long. And I'm sure some of you may have, maybe vast majority of you have experienced this, where you're just waiting in an office, doctor's office, government office, just to do something in and out, but it just takes so long to wait. And like, you're just keeping track of your ticket number, and then you see like additional numbers being added, and your position in the queue, like, you're just counting it down, like, oh, I'm only number 7 now, but then you see like other people have like registered after you, so you can see the backup. But like, sometimes I swear to God, I don't know if this is intentional or not, but like, you can see other numbers being added in front of your number. So let's say you're like number 68, right? They're calling 59, 60, 61, and then they like at like, oh, 61A, 61B. Not that specific instance, but like, you can almost swear that like your position in the queue is actually going backwards. It certainly feels like that. Maybe it feels like that because you're just like, some people are like in and out, but other people, they take like ages. And I guess, like, depending on which office you go to, they might have a system where you're given like, a specific code or whatever, where if there's like multiple desks, each desk solves with a different matter. So you can have one queue that's like completely empty because that's for like stuff that nobody does. Meanwhile, you have like a very long queue for like the stuff that a lot of people do, you know, or just like an application that a lot of people fill out juxtaposed to the other line. So maybe that's why, where some lines can like seem empty or disused, and other ones seem like really long because they serve different purposes. Um, and I guess like some, depending on which system, you know, um, they've implemented, like, I guess that could work. But it almost feels like your position in the queue goes backwards. I swear sometimes I add like a number ahead of me, when I'm about to go up, and then they're like, oh no, this person has to go. Why? Because, I don't know, they booked it in advance, or, they just grabbed a number out of a hat, and it just so happens to be 67 instead of 68. I don't know. It just, I swear, am I the only one who thinks that, like, your position goes backwards? Let me know. It certainly feels like that when you're like in a drive-through and like fast food, if you know what I mean. Like, you see other orders going by, but you're still waiting for your one, even though you ordered like before all of those people. That's the same thing with a government office. Like, I swear it happens. But anyway, I guess, like, most of the government offices I've been to, they have like, multiple, I guess, lanes. But even then, most of them aren't like filled with like staff and all that. It's only like a small handful are in service. Now today, I went around 2 or 3 o'clock, right before peak hour rush on a weekday, and obviously it was a Friday, so I feel like not a whole lot of people go to the government offices, like applications and all that, on a Friday. But like, imagine if it was a weekend. Oh, I'd be hammered. It'll be hammered. I would have had to wait like an hour if it was the weekend. Um, but yeah, it's just like, at least it was quite speedy and quite helpful at the government offices. I forgot to print out the second page to my form. So the lady at the front counter, she just handed me the full form again. So I had to like redo it. But like luckily they have like spare copies because now I've learned. Something I learned today was just you gotta print out the full government form, even if the sections that you don't need, you still gotta print them out because they have like an officer's page or a page where you hand it to someone and they have to sign it, and that's typically on the last page. So just print out the entirety of government documents. Right? Do not miss out on a page. That's what I learned. So yeah, obviously managed to fill out my application, and it's coming in a few weeks. My photo ID card. And I'm only doing because I don't really use my driver's license, and the driver's license is going to expire next year because I'm on my L's. And if you're on your L's and your driver license expires, then you have to retake the driver's test, which I'm not going to do because I don't see a point in me really using a car at this rate. But yeah, I guess now you can do your driver's license. At least here in New South Wales, you can do your L's test online apparently. Because when I was searching it up not too long ago, when I did it back in 2022, you had to do it in person, but now you can do it online, which makes it simple. But I guess it really takes the experience out of going to the Service New South Wales building or DMV or whatever, and just I don't know if it's a DMV if you do it to get yells. I don't know. We just call it Service New South Wales. And yeah, and just doing the exam in person on like one of their computers, and then getting that joy when you pass and you just take a picture. Now all that will be lost. It's all gonna be on the computer now. I don't know when they did that switch. It must have been in like 2020. I don't know, 5 or 4. Certainly not 2022. It must have been beyond that. But yeah, that's another thing you know, another thing that popped into my head. So yeah, waiting at government offices. They need to be more efficient, if you know what I mean. They need to have more people at the front counter so they can get for as much people as possible. Because I swear, some people are just in and out. Other people, they take up so much time. In fact, the person next to me, to the left of me, were going like back and forward for like ages. And you could just hear if a conversation's been going nowhere when like the person at the front desk is like trying to reiterate to the other person, the customer or the person who's got the application, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this before seeing us, you need to go back to, that sort of thing. It's like speaking to a brick wall, but yeah, government offices, like they're painful. Like I would not go into a government office or Service New South Wales building unless I have to. But even then, you just gotta grab your ticket and you wait. Same thing reminds me of yet again doctor's office and even drive-through windows at fast food restaurants. Just seeing other people go before you. I'm like, hey, I came before that person, and I just laugh at these things because these are things we can all relate to. And at the end of the day, look, as long as you get it done and you can move on and laugh about it, just that shared frustration for government offices, or just like I don't know, just any public service building / office, Um, but yeah, I guess I'd like to hear your thoughts about it. If you have had that. Can I speak English today? It's that time of night where I just jumble up my words like Scrabble. Have you ever had that experience of waiting? I made a whole video journal about waiting, video journal entry, but it's essentially I think at government offices it's just like very mundane. It's not like waiting in line for like concert tickets where you're just like anticipating it. You're like very excited for it. Waiting in line at a government office, you're not excited, right? You just want to get this shit done. But yet again, it takes so much time. You end up waiting for more time than you get your issue resolved. You wait for like 30 minutes and you're in, the line, and finally, when you get served, it's just like 5 minutes in and out. You know, like I feel like they need to like organize the queues in order of like express queues and then like long service queues. So people who just need to go in and out go through the express lane. People who need to spend more time, they go through the slow lane. All right, that's how they should do every government office. Except it's always like a game of Jeopardy. Oh yeah, go to counter 8. And I guess different counters solve with like different issues. Because when I went to the counter, the picture booth was right next to it to take my photo for the ID card. So obviously, why would they put me in counter one when the picture booth's over at counter eight? You know what I mean? Um, so that sort of thing. Like, why would they, you know, put me at a different counter where there's not a whole lot of people? Also, where there's not a whole lot of, I guess, staff or resources there when they could just put me over there. So I can kind of guess which counter solves with different issues, to, I guess, make it a lot more easier for, people to get what they need to get done. But at the same time, like I feel like counter one should be solely about this, counter two should be solely about that, and they should add like express lanes. If you just need one document done, just get over here, or if it's like a very quick process, just get it done over here. If you know what I mean. Um, yeah, that sort of thing. I don't know if they already have a system like that. Most probably with like counter one corresponding to this, counter eight or counter 10 corresponding to that sort of thing, where they solve with like different issues. But yet again, there's no way I can know about that. Well, maybe they don't want to tell me because obviously, why would they care? They just want to give me the ticket and they want me to wait. At least the lobby was nice. At least they had like lots of seating. But you know what I mean, right? It's just that like I guess suspense, where you like just want to get something done. You just got to hear out for your number because you don't know which counter. You can't like really determine which counter you'll be at. If you miss your number, then someone else is going to go ahead of you. So you don't need to. You can't miss it really. Can't go outside. You can't go to the bathroom or anything. You get to hear because sometimes like they might skip through people to get to you. Like I don't know, if like a very small thing, like if your thing that you need to get done just takes minimal time. So yeah, I guess you can go both ways where you feel like your position, your kid's going backwards, but sometimes you might be a little bit advanced. You might be, put ahead in a line. Who knows? I just know government offices and service centers are a little bit whack. But anyway, I can most probably close that book because I've been talking too much about waiting in government office and lines and all that. But yeah, I guess like it really just, I guess really takes me back to the doctor's office, and that's that could be a whole nother video journal entry where I just talk about that childhood experience of waiting at the doctor's office lobby where they got all the toys and magazines out, and like I think the doctor's office is like the worst culprit. I haven't been to the doctor's in years, um, or at least I haven't waited in like a doctor's office for like a very long time because usually when I go in, it's like pretty quick because we book it ahead. But you know, I remember there was an old doctor's office that I went to as a kid, um, and I remember yeah they had like all the toys out. They had like magazines. I distinctly remember the layout of the room, and it's still there. That doctor's office. I don't know if it's like underneath like a different name or whatever, but I distinctly remember that. And yeah, like obviously it brings back some childhood memories. Obviously, places like Service New South Wales, I don't have like toys or magazines out. They just have the radio playing. But I guess doctor's office really like just a waiting room, like a doctor's office. So waiting rooms at the doctor's office. Um, they just bring me back like fond childhood memories, just like waiting. As a kid, waiting with your parents and just playing one of those things until you hear like, oh Joshua, it's your go, or Joshua, we need you now, sort of thing. And I remember like, yeah, I remember the last time I went to a doctor's office, they actually had anime playing. They had a Kiki's delivery service playing in the waiting room. They had the English dub, obviously, but that was a pleasant surprise. I was like, finally, a good movie that's playing in the waiting room. Why can't they do that at like Service New South Wales or other waiting rooms like that where they play like a cartoon or anime or whatever. That's nice. It appeals to a lot of people. Why, I guess, you know, um, pay for a streaming service subscription where you could just watch it in the doctor's office, if you know what I mean. Um, but that was like, man, a few months ago. But, it was a pleasant delight seeing anime. it caught me by surprise though, because I'm like, man, I know it's like a fairly popular movie, and I know it's like all ages, but still, like it's like walking in and they play like Bleach or something, or like Evangelion. I don't think they'll play Evangelion, but like, has anyone been in like the waiting room or whatever, and they play like anime or something like that? I bet you at least one time in human history, someone's gone into like a waiting room at like a doctor's office or whatever, and they have like Evangelion on, just like the movie or the TV series or whatever. It'll be funny. Certainly not appropriate for all ages, very dark themes, but man, at least you got like some very good quality entertainment. You don't need to like put on like whatever crap kids watch on YouTube or TV nowadays. You just gotta put the classics on there. Why not put like um, why not put the original Jurassic Park movie? Why don't you put man, what other like classic movies can I think of that will really make for a good like why not put a horror movie? Put like the original Frankenstein or Dracula movie or Psycho. That'll be perfect for a doctor's office. But anyway, no, I just find it really funny if they just play like a very, very scary horror movie. Certainly not appropriate, but it will be funny. Um, I guess you're gonna put something that's all ages. But anyway, I can close that book. And what else happened to me today? No, not much. Not much, not much. Yet again, I'm pretty busy next week. I've got a few personal things happening. Nothing too major, but they take up a fair bit of your time. And yet again, yeah, that's been pretty much it. Yet again, I'm just looking for things to photograph, to take pictures and videos of for like my own archive series, which is on my main channel, which I should most probably link to this channel. With my, I guess, Sydney project, and just taking images and photos, and well, images and photos practically the same thing. Videos of Sydney and the surrounding area, add to my little archive, and yeah, that's been pretty much it today. Yet again, I didn't really do much, and I went to the shops and I bought some snacks and some bread and some necessities, like I always do. But yeah, I don't know. Like, oh yeah, Vivid. That's another thing that's popped into my head. I think Vivid is about to end soon. I think it's the final weeks of Vivid. Yet again, no, nothing much has really been happening throughout Vivid, from what I've seen at least, and um, like obviously they have like food stalls and all that, but it's incredibly overpriced and it's quite pricey. And not to say the food's bad or anything, but it is sort of pricey, and um, obviously like um, I've been like checking it out all the food stalls. I haven't really bought anything from the food stalls, but um, I do see similar things happening around like Chatswood area. Sometimes I go by Chatswood, and usually like on Fridays, I think it's Fridays, they have like a mini like market sort of thing in the evening where there's like a bunch of food stalls and all that. So they're like a neat idea. Um, Suddenly brings out a lot of flavor. Bring something to go to other than McDonald's or the same old restaurant. But yeah, food stores can be like I guess quite expensive, but I'm willing to pay the expense if the food quality is good. Obviously, you got to be a little bit cautious of food stores. There's certainly good and bad ones, but I guess you just got to get the local consensus on which ones are the good ones. But anyway, yeah, and obviously I'm still thinking about that new segment to put at the end of my videos. I haven't really thought of a segment yet, but rest assured something will pop into my mind soon. Maybe I can do something like, what have I learnt this day? What's one thing I learned about today? That sort of thing. But yet again, I don't want to make it like super generic. I want it to at least be somewhat informative and somewhat relating to you, the audience. And my lip's quite dry. Maybe I need to put some lip balm or drink some more water. But anyway, Is there anything else I want to say before I press the end record button? Because sometimes I end these video journal entries, and then like when I'm uploading a video, I'm like, oh, I should have talked about that, you know? Could have saved it for the next video. But yeah, nothing's really popping into my head now, so I might just leave it there. Now it's kind of a little bit short for a Friday, but you know, hopefully tomorrow I'll have a lot more to talk about, and over the coming weeks and months and all that. You know, like yet again, I'm trying to look for material throughout the day to put in my video journal series. You know, like I try to consume as much media as I can within the amount of time that I have. You know, watch movies and all that. I did watch that Hugh Jackman movie called Sheep Detectives. I think I mentioned that earlier in the series, but you know, maybe I'll make a whole review off that. But my memory's a little bit foggy because I watched it a few weeks ago. So you know, I should have just done it when I saw the movie. I think I did. I think I did give a review of Sheep Detectives. But the whole video wasn't titled Sheep Detectives. This is about something else. But yeah. Like I said, not really. I guess much on in the theaters that I'm interested in. But yet again, I'm always looking around. I'm always looking around for stuff to talk about during the day. I can talk about it to you once I get home and all that. But anyway, that's enough of me blabbing, and I guess I'll catch you all next time. Bye, see ya, take care, catch you all tomorrow.